Morning, everybody. Welcome to the November 12th meeting of Henderson County Fiscal Court. We are glad you're with us, and for those watching online, we are glad that you are with us as well. We will begin, as we always do, with an invocation, and Pastor Joe Cox from Cairo Methodist Church is with us. To lead us in prayer, please stand.
Would you pray with me? Heavenly Father, we just thank you for our time here this morning. Lord, I thank you for all the families that are represented here, Lord, that you would just bless them, that you would continue to love them and remind them that they are loved. Lord, we ask you that you just be present with us during this time, that you would help us to feel your spirit, that you would help us to yield to your spirit, yield to your direction, and that you would just show us the plan that you have for our community. Lord, we love you and we praise you. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reverend. Appreciate that. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Magistrate Starks.
Here.
Magistrate Berry.
Here.
Magistrate Southard.
Here.
Magistrate Tompkins.
Here.
And Magistrate Putman.
Here.
Gentlemen, you have before you in your packets the minutes from the October 22nd Fiscal Court meeting. After a period of review, I'll entertain a motion to accept those.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any corrections, clarifications, or additions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are not going to be having our Judges Scholar presentation today. Our Judges Scholar, Layla Albright from Cairo Elementary School, is under the weather, and so we will be honoring her at our next meeting. And we send our well wishes and get better soon condolences to Leela. We have a proclamation today for Diabetes Awareness Month, and Karen Hill from both the Diabetes Coalition and the Health District is here to help us commemorate this. And before we read the proclamation, anything you'd like to add?
I would like to say that we are doing a free diabetes screening today. I left there to come here. We're at the UK Extension Education and Expo Center. We'll be there until 3 o'clock. I've been there since 6:30 this morning, and we've already screened over 30 people.
Hey, great.
So you do not have to have an appointment. We have plenty of walk-ins available, so if you haven't gotten screened, come on out. We'll get you screened.
Screening's important.
Very important. We're trying to catch people before they develop diabetes. We're trying to keep them in the, 1 in 3 Americans have prediabetes, and 9 out of 10 of those do not know it. So that's what we're doing today, is trying to catch people when they have prediabetes and give them education. We've got educational professionals out there today, and we will be talking with those that need some information about how to keep that from going into full-blown diabetes. So we do that twice a year, and we offer it free, so it's a great community service. Been doing it for a long time.
It's interesting, we're reading this proclamation on the same day we're going to be discussing our health insurance plans.
Exactly.
Because diabetes is one of the things that we really struggle with as a community and in our group, and it is one of the most eminently preventable serious diseases out there. So
that's why we started doing these screenings. Gosh, I don't know how many years we've been doing them, but that's why we started doing them. We want to offer that as a free service because we have identified a lot of people through the years that have diabetes and many more that have prediabetes. So it's a great service.
Well,
Can I say something, Judge, real quick?
Sure.
You know, Karen and I go back a long way, but and appreciate all you do. But, you know, I found just that some people, once they're diagnosed, they don't have access necessarily to the treatment, to the insulin or the pills or anything. And our health department here in Henderson is a resource where they can get all that. I don't know if we do a good enough job referring people. I know we stay pretty busy out there, but I still think there's a lot more people that could be helped.
It's the Community Access Project at the Health Department. The Diabetes Coalition has a patient assistance program, and we help people if they're in immediate need. If they run out of insulin or medication, we will give them enough. We have money set aside to do that. We've done that for many, many years. And then when we help them, it runs through T&T Drug Store. So whenever we help someone with our program, they're immediately given information to go to the health department to see Marcella at the Community Access Project. And I can tell you out of the 7 counties that Green River District Health Department covers, Henderson is one of the busiest community access projects. It's amazing. I get a report usually every quarter, sometimes it's every 6 months, of how much money that project has saved people for their diabetes medication
It's
and
huge.
supplies. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's
Susan
amazing.
Klaus, when she gives that report, it's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Those numbers just blow you away when you see them.
They keep going up every year,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
almost double.
Yes. So, I mean, a lot of help available.
But-
And we try to advertise that program. So,
We appreciate everything you do.
thank you.
Why don't we read the proclamation?
All right. Whereas 38.4 million American adults are estimated to have diabetes, diagnosed and undiagnosed, including nearly 486,200 Kentuckians, 13.8% reporting that they have diabetes, making Kentucky the 7th highest in the United States for the prevalence of diabetes, a serious disease that has no cure and can be associated with complications that threaten both length and quality of life. And whereas nearly an additional 101,000 adult Kentuckians are estimated to be living with undiagnosed diabetes based on the national rate, and 1,168,000 people in Kentucky, 33.8% of the adult population who have prediabetes with blood glucose levels that are higher than normal, but not yet high enough to be diagnosed as diabetes. Every year, an additional 20,700 people in Kentucky are diagnosed with diabetes, and whereas diabetes is the 7th leading cause of death by disease in Kentucky and in the nation, and diabetes can be associated with complications that threaten both length and quality of life, such as blindness, heart disease, kidney failure, stroke, and leg or foot amputations. And whereas diabetes costs Kentucky over $5 billion in total medical expenditures, lost work, and lost wages each year. And whereas an increase in community awareness of risk factors and symptoms related to prediabetes and diabetes, as well as evidence-based interventions that can improve outcomes and quality of life among those with and at risk for diabetes, can increase the likelihood that they will seek out education, support, and treatment early in the course of the disease. And whereas structured lifestyle change programs such as the National Diabetes Prevention Program have been proven to prevent or delay type 2 diabetes in adults with prediabetes, and accredited recognized diabetes self-management education and support programs that support appropriate self-care and behavior change strategies critical to managing diabetes have been shown to improve diabetes outcome. Now, therefore, I, Brad Snyder, Judge Executive of Henderson County, do hereby proclaim November 2024 as Diabetes Awareness Month.
Come up and get the proclamation. Thank you for your hard work, and I hope more people get screened. Yeah. Gentlemen, I have two people to appoint to the Cooperative Extension Board. David Hatchett and Sherry Smith both are currently on the board, and their terms are coming up, and they have both agreed to serve again. I have served with them, of course, as part of that board, and they are really good board members, good people, understand the mission of the Extension Office well, and I submit David Hatchett and Sherry Smith for your approval to be reappointed to the Cooperative Extension Board. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we have with us DJ Story, our friend and consultant from what used to be called Peel and Holland and now is Hub International. And I don't think it's a exaggeration to say that DJ and Angela and Brenda Ryder and Teresa Childers and I have worked a lot of hours in the last 3 months trying to nail down the best plan for our team here as we could for health insurance. And it's a changing landscape for us, both in costs and coverages. And we think we've hit on a good combination of plans. And I'm going to let DJ walk us all through this.
Thanks, Judge. Yes, I'm going to do my best to walk through this. Seeing most of you again is the normal strategy is to kind of walk through kind of our claims history, where we're at, and then what the renewal presentations look like for this year, and kind of how we got there. But feel free and ask questions as I go through this. I'm happy to answer anything I can. So again, we'll go through that information. So plan financial review. This graph shows the per member per year cost that we have on, again, a self-funded health plan with Henderson County. We cover the cost of the first $100,000 of any claimant, employee, spouse, or dependent on the health insurance. We have our health insurance administered through Anthem, and we get their discounts through their network and that such, but then we're really, as Henderson, covering the cost of those claims until they hit that $100,000 threshold, and then we have stop loss that kicks in. So when we talk about the cost that we are expending per individual person on the plan, you see those numbers at $9,193 is the projection for the remainder of this year. Last year was at $10,589. We've had a significant bump over the past couple of years in relation to, unfortunately, not necessarily one particular issue, right? We haven't had something that we could easily go, okay, well, now that we've got that claim resolved, those claims are no longer something to worry about. We've had some various claimants with some high-cost conditions, cancers, or other serious conditions that have driven our plan cost up. The line graph there shows the number of members on the plan. So we've had a little bit of a dip in membership, but an increase in cost, which is not what we want, but it is where we're at. I'll break this down into some large buckets. So again, we're talking about self-funding. The majority of what the Henderson County pays on their health plan are the claims themselves. So that is that large blue bar. So we're projecting close to 1.9 million in claims towards the remainder of this year. Now, claims that exceed that $100,000 threshold for each individual member, we end up getting reimbursements back from our stop-loss carrier. That's what that red bar is. So we've actually had closer to 2.2 million in claims, but we're either have received or expecting to receive about $300,000 back in reimbursements because those exceeded that threshold. That's a good and a bad thing. We like getting money back, but when we're paying for a stop-loss carrier to cover our claims, if we have a significant amount of those, guess what happens in the next year's renewal, right? So they're asking for more money. We saw that last year when we had $734,000 in reimbursements. We had a significant bump in our stop-loss premium in this year, and not to bury the lead, we have an increase in our stop-loss premium this year based around that. The other pieces of that puzzle are how much are we paying for that stop-loss premium? So that's that teal bar. So as you can see, back in '23, we only paid $260,000 to end up getting $730,000 in reimbursements. We got a great deal that year. And in '24, we're running virtually even when you look at it, $372,000 in premium paid, only $304,000 so far that we see on the reimbursements in. That could rise depending on additional claims that come in between now and the end of the year. And then you see the smallest dark blue bar is at $87,000 this year. That's the smallest portion that we pay for just the administrative costs. So we pay Anthem to get those network discounts and to administer our claims. We pay the smallest portion of our total account based in that portion. I'll pause here. Is there any questions that y'all have in relation to the overall cost? We'll move on. So how do we stack up in relation to what costs that we have versus others? So I like to compare ourselves in a couple different ways. One is, how does this fare for the actual employee and members on our health plan? So when we look at, we have a couple plans with Henderson County. One of them is the buyout plan. I've compared that here. The individual person taking that plan, if they're an employee, they're paying about $142 per month for that health insurance coverage. The national average for 2024 is about $125. So we're in range there. But one thing I will point out is when you go down to the actual net cost that they end up spending, are in that lower couple rows, that's actually taking into consideration the maximum out of pocket they could have on their health insurance. So if they had a large claim, how much they would spend. And then we're reducing out the HRA, so the Henderson County offers a health reimbursement arrangement that helps pay off some of those claims for them. And that means that their exposure to high-cost claims is significantly lower than the national average. The other thing I'll point out, if you go back up to the employee premium, is our family premium is much lower than the national average. Our family premium is at $326, national average is at $551. So we have a competitive plan in both aspects, from both cost and exposure to the employees of Henderson County, and have for many years now. The next piece is, okay, how does that compare nationally over the course of time, right? So Henderson County, if you take both of those plans that are offered to employees and you average what the family cost for those plans are annually, that gets you to about $3,900 a year. That is lower than what the national average for family coverage was back in 2014. You've seen the increases over the past 10 years of how that's gone. Now that national average cost for employees is about over $6,000, and we've been able to maintain that. It's largely due to just practical budgeting for the claims that we do have. We can't control all of the claims that happen, but we're saying, the court is saying, let's make sure to mitigate that impact on the employees, and that's a huge credit to the court and the decisions that have been made here. So again, to talk about that stability, we added the HRA style plans back in 2017. Our costs have remained under benchmark largely, and since 2017, there's been no cost increase on those premiums or cost of coverage in that time period. So again, credit to the court on that. So let's talk about renewal. We saw the numbers of where we're running from a stop loss reimbursement perspective versus premium, but we can expect some increases. Let's walk through those. So Anthem administration, again, the smallest portion of that bucket, has a slight increase at 9.8%. It only comes out to about $5,000 annual difference in just the cost of their coverages. Part of that is in relation to, we carved out our stop loss. Anthem previously paid, or was our stop loss carrier as well as our administrator. And a few years ago, we felt like we weren't getting as good of a deal as we could, and so we carved that out to go to a different stop loss market and market that out to multiple carriers. By so doing, they've said for that privilege, we get to pay them a little bit more money to allow us to do that and save that money. It's been well worth it, but it is the main cause of that administrative increase. Based on high claims, our stop loss renewal is roughly at 40%. And a 2.7% increase in the expected claims cost. So again, as a self-funded employer, we only pay the claims we actually have, but the stop loss carriers, the underwriters, will set an expectation of what those claims they expect will be, and then that generates what our maximum exposure is on the cost of that coverage. Our initial renewal was over 50%. We did negotiate that down. They also had added a $200,000 laser. A laser is where you say one specific person, based on their conditions, you can't take $100,000 worth of liability. We're going to make you take $200,000 worth of liability. We negotiated that back out, and we negotiated a significant portion of that expected claims back down to get this to what we think is the best possible. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about that process, is that we actually marketed this thing to 23 different stop loss carriers, actually 24 if you captive option as well. We had 2 responses, one our incumbent carrier and 2 the proposed renewal that we have through Sun Life. Everyone else said the risk is not the thing that we want to take, which really limits our options based on the claims history that we have. Now, of course, if that claims history turns, then our market becomes a lot more attractive. We can take that out to more carriers at that time, or get more options back. We did also retain a no new laser option with this stop loss carrier. What that means is that not only can we're not having a laser at this renewal, so there's not increased liability for any individual person, they guarantee that they will not laser any individuals at next renewal. We did that last year. We were recommending to change carriers, but we wanted to retain that to protect the plan, because I said $200,000. I've had claims and employers that have had lasers of $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 on one individual claimant in this market, just because of the high cost of medical inflation and our prescription inflation. We're seeing more and more of those out there. So we retain the no new laser option. If we're budgeting for expected exposure, that puts our overall cost at about $2.6 million based on the underwriters' projections. Our maximum exposure closer to 3.2. So that would be the structure of that renewal. I'll pause here to answer any questions you may have.
I'll interject that if you remember, we have budgeted about 3.1 for our fiscal year, which is June to July. It's always kind of a tricky estimation when we're dealing with a calendar year product versus a fiscal year budget. But 3.1 is our current number. So at least for the 6 months ending and the 6 months beginning next year, we're in line with what the projections required us. So,
And as we go into that budget year for next year, we will take our team and our actuarial team to help guide some direction on what we expect the budget will be, right? Again, to that point, Judge, when we're looking at that in March of '25, we'll be saying, okay, well, we don't know what our renewal will be for '26, but based on kind of where we're trending and heading, does the budget meet with the potential and help y'all with that process? Any other questions? Well, I'll move on to the other renewal carriers. So we do have our dental with HRI Paramount. Based on utilization, there was a 4% increase in that cost. That is a very small number in comparison to when we're talking about the health. We also discussed with Angela and the team, currently the vision product with Anthem it's a rate hold, one, but two, it's provided for folks that are taking the health insurance. And we've had more and more questions of employees that say, I don't really necessarily want to take the health insurance, but I'd like a vision product. So what we've added is a voluntary product with Paramount on the vision side, very comparable to what they have with Anthem, but we wanted to separate the carrier just so from an administrative perspective it wasn't confusing of, okay, this one's paid, this one's not paid. It would become confusing. So we added a voluntary vision product. Again, this would be employee paid dollars, but through that same carrier as our dental product for this year. Group and voluntary life, you've had a coverage for group life and voluntary life that employees can take out for many years with MetLife. We ended up reviewing that and marketing that this year and found some savings. I want to say roughly a little over $5,000 annually on the group life product by transitioning that to a different carrier, One America. No changes in coverage for the employees on that group life product. But then again, they would also have an opportunity to take voluntary life where they pay for the cost of that coverage. The nice thing about transitioning that to a new carrier is that everyone is able to get what's called guaranteed issue amount of $100,000, so they don't have to answer medical questions. Because there's been a little bit of time since that, employees might have said, oh, I didn't have life insurance before, now I'm looking to get it, but I've gone to go and try and get that, and I've failed a medical questionnaire, I know I have a health condition. None of those things are going to prevent folks from able to get at least $100,000 of coverage with this One America plan for this initial enrollment. We think that's a good benefit.
And can I say right here, this is a good example of how DJ looked into the couch cushions to find us some savings, you know, because we had such a, you know, it's trending high. And so he was able to look at this and he always works hard to get us some
Thank you.
savings. So thank you. And April too.
Yes, April does. She works harder than me. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, we're trying to find any way to help benefit the employees of the county, but also save as much from a budgetary perspective as we can. HRA is with McGregor. There was no changes in costs or structure on that. And so to wrap this thing up, I will make our recommendation that we hold rates with employees for the 8th year in a row. And it's going to be imperative, as we mentioned in the budget cycle, to really monitor how our claims are trending as we finish this year and start next year from a budget perspective to make sure that that does align with next year's budget projections. But given that, our recommendation, to be more specific, will be to renew all contracts and information with Anthem as the administrator for our self-funded health plan, to accept Sun Life's stop-loss proposal, option 1, which is the current specific deductible level of $100,000. It will be to accept the Paramount Dental renewal and the voluntary vision proposal as well, and the Anthem Vision renewal at no cost change there, as well as One America for the group term life and the voluntary life coverages.
And McGregor as our...
and McGregor as the HRA administrator.
Okay. If you did take the time to wade through all the information in your packet, you might have questions. Please feel free. Again, it's a very tough business at the moment. Inflation in the healthcare industry, as you know, is really tough for some plans to deal with. We are what amounts to a $3 million insurance company ourselves, and it's when it's good, it's good. When it's tough, it's tough. As DJ mentioned, I'm very proud that for the 8th year in a row, hopefully we will not have to ask for more from our employees to pay premiums than we have, for the previous 7 years. So I don't know of a single entity out in the private sector that can say that. And DJ might know somebody who.
If there is, they're far and few between, especially in the last 10 years. I can count on maybe 3 fingers, the ones that I know of that have had very little to no cost change in the course of that time. And it's been not with costs are certainly increasing. They've just decided to absorb those costs. So,
I was gonna say, they didn't have a problem asking us for more.
Right. Yeah.
No.
And never do.
No, unfortunately, that is how that works.
Our ability to do that, it really does put money back in the pockets of employees, our team. And so, even with this, renewal that's going to cost us a few more dollars, obviously, we still have the wherewithal to maintain that policy of not raising employees' premiums if we so choose next fiscal year. And I'm proud of that, but it is getting tougher and tougher every year to do that. And as you know, we are watching closely a couple entities that may be offering counties a larger pool to buy into, which may make a more sense for us in the future, but for right now, those haven't been solidified yet. So we are sticking with this plan based on DJ's renewals, I think, but we'll take questions.
I was just going to make a quick comment. I was at the Hazardous Waste Day this past Saturday at the Road Garage, which seemed like was really going well. And I happened to just have a chance to talk to the young lady that was checking people in. She's a relatively new hire. She's a single parent. She has 4 young children at home. And I just asked her about how she felt about the benefits that we provide. And she said, that's one of the best things about my job. I don't have to worry now about taking care of my family and their health needs. So this is as much, really, as much as the salary, I think, for a lot of folks right now. And I actually had a chance to compare this coverage with some private insurance not too long ago, and was very pleased. We can, I think, be very proud. Again, as the judge pointed out, 8 years now that we've absorbed. Very few can say that. So I think, again, it's the right thing to do, and she certainly appreciated it. So just to give you a little perspective there.
Good to know.
Well, and I'd like to say that, when we looked at the national averages, there's 2 that didn't even, they weren't even applicable. And that's because our team has fought to have, even though it's administratively, it's more difficult and it's more tedious and time consuming, but we have, we don't just have single and family. We actually added the one for the parent and child or children, the employee and spouse, so that they don't have to pay that family rate if they don't have, and I guess that's uncommon maybe, that's why it's.
Yeah, it just depends on the
Okay.
coverage, yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, that's why we didn't have comparisons in the packet, because those are
Right.
wrinkles
So-
to our program that are fairly unique, so.
So, and I thank Teresa and Brenda for that, and Teresa's the one who has to, administer that on payroll, so it's a big deal.
I think the vision option, separating that out, I think that's a good thing too. So we're
Yeah.
trying to give them as many different ways to do things that fits their family and their needs. I think it's good.
It just goes to show how much we appreciate our number one asset, that's our employees. you know, and we're trying to take care of them as best as we can. And as the judge mentioned, trying to keep as much money in their pocket as possible in this day and time. So, but good job for you guys. Excellent.
Thank you.
Any other questions of DJ? I really appreciate his help.
Yes.
Always been a good partner.
Appreciate
Good
it.
resource for us. And with that, I'm going to have the Madam Clerk read the resolution.
Okay. A resolution authorizing county judge executive to execute insurance contracts related to employee health, vision, life, and dental benefits. Whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court provides various health insurance benefits to its employees through a self-funded insurance plan, whereas Hub International Mid-South is the current health insurance broker that provides health insurance benefits advisory services to the county, including review of all insurance contracts and forms, making recommendations, coordinating enrollments, preparing annual requests for proposals upon request, and providing other health insurance consultation services. And whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court, in consultation with Hub International Mid-South, deems it to be in the best interest of Henderson County to renew its administrative services only, or ASO, relationship with Anthem Insurance Companies, Inc. for the administration of Henderson County Employee Health Plan. And whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court, in consultation with Hub International Mid-South, deems it in the best interest of Henderson County to enter into an agreement with Health Resources, Inc., DBA Paramount Dental, to be the provider for employee dental insurance. And whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court, in consultation with Hub International Mid-South, deems it in the best interest of Henderson County to enter into an agreement with Health Resources, Inc., DBA Paramount Vision, to be the provider for employee vision insurance. And whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court, in consultation with Hub International Mid-South, deems it to be in the best interest of Henderson County to enter into an agreement with American United Life Insurance Company, a One America company, to be the provider for employee term life and accidental death and dismemberment insurance. And whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court, in consultation with Hub International Mid-South, deems it to be in the best interest of Henderson County to renew its agreement with McGregor Employee Benefits Administrator and Consultants to be the provider for the Health Reimbursement Arrangement, or HRA plan. And whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court, in consultation with Hub International Mid-South, deems it in the best interest of Henderson County to enter into an agreement with Sun Life Assurance Company of Canada to be the provider for stop-loss insurance. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the Henderson County Fiscal Court of Henderson, Kentucky as follows. The Henderson County Fiscal Court hereby adopts the recommendation of Hub International Mid-South to accept the proposals of Anthem Insurance Companies, ASO, Health Resources, Inc., Dental and Vision Insurance, McGregor Employee Benefits and Administrators and Consultants, HRA Administration, America United Life Insurance Company, a One America company, Life and Accidental Death and Dismemberment Insurance, and Sun Life Assurance Company of Canada, stop-loss coverage under the terms which were presented in fiscal court at its meeting on the date of this resolution, and which are attached hereto and incorporated herein. And two, the Henderson County Fiscal Court hereby authorizes and directs County Judge Executive Brad Schneider to execute any and all necessary contracts, applications, or agreements necessary to obtain the services and coverage anticipated by this resolution, subject to legal review.
Get a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you again, Dean.
Thank you, DJ.
Up next, we have bid recommendation on our Judicial Center lighting project. As you can see in your packet, Tom DeMar and Sons bid came in around $22,000 less than the next lowest bid from Dyke Brothers. Recommendation from staff to accept the DeMar and Sons bid, and this project has been approved for reimbursement by the Administrative Office of the Courts. I'll ask Kurt Wiesen, our deputy, to add anything you'd like to.
No, we'd had originally had 6 contractors interested in it. Only 2 of the submitted bids, which we opened last time, said Tom DeMar and Sons and Degg Brothers. Tom DeMar was about $20,000 cheaper than Degg Brothers. So I'd like to recommend continue work with Tom DeMar Sons to complete the project over there. As the judge said, we went through the proper channels, got this approved from AOC. So they are right now going to reimburse us at least $77,000 towards this project.
Any questions?
I just had a quick question. Is the difference between these two bids the fact that maybe one recommended fewer fixtures than the other, or what's the difference?
A lot was overhead. Dealing with a small local company compared to Degg Brothers Construction, a lot more hands and a lot of overhead. Fixture count was primarily just about the same for both. The cost per fixture was actually Tom DeMar and Son had a little bit less cost per fixture. He has a better connection with a couple local suppliers. Big difference was labor costs.
Any other questions? Get a motion to approve the,
I move that we accept the lowest bid.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And while I have Kurt up here, we have another bid recommendation for Parks Department. Well, actually, it's for the Road Department. Nick Stallings couldn't be with us today, but Casey Phillips is here to talk a little bit about the purchase, if you want to add something.
He probably doesn't know as much as I do.
Okay.
Nick's recommendation for the bid was to use the CareTech Sterile Coney lift. That's really about all I know. I have some reasons why, if you would like for me to read them. Okay. He believes this is the best fit for their needs for several reasons. There's a vendor has on-site certified techs for general repairs, warranty repairs, and annual required inspections. Vendor is located 2.5 hours away from the department as opposed to other vendor certified tech availability. There are several features that are more suited to our needs, such as mechanical touchpad rather than touch screen, more suited for greasy fingers, can be lowered manually if loss of signal occurs, self-locking at any height, overload protection, adjustable lowering speed, operating manual on screen, as well as notifications for maintenance due. Those are the reasons.
Casey,
recommendation.
you said that was the CareTech Challenger 19,000?
No. CareTech Stony Connell. CareTech
Okay.
Challenger was actually lowest bid. I'm going to interject here.
Good, 'cause you-
I was dealing with Nick a lot on this. CareTech Challenger was actually lowest bid. We had 3 different brands in with the bids, Challenger, Stony Connell, and Rotary, from 6 different vendors. The Challenger was the lowest bid from CareTech, but CareTech is no longer, you found out that CareTech's no longer going to be supporting the Challenger series. So there's some concerns there about keeping up to date with the maintenance and associated costs with that. CareTech also is a vendor from Kentucky. Not computed into the prices is they are claiming resident bidder status also, which could further lower the cost if we need to go that route. But they've got outstanding reputation. Like you said, they're very close by. The other bids were all, we had one really high bid, like about $63,000 for from one of the vendors. All the other bids were within several $100s. And after the guys looked at all the three different brands, the Challenger, the Stony Connell, and the Rotary, they all agreed that the Sterile Connell was the best fit for their circumstances out here.
Good enough for me. I recommend we accept the bid.
We have a motion to accept a recommended purchase. Any other discussion?
And it does look like it's in stock, so we can get this pretty soon,
Yes.
fairly soon. Good deal.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now, I'm going to ask Kurt to stay up here as we go over the next couple items.
with me.
Oh, Casey, too. Because we have a lot of equipment matters to go over here. Casey, if you could talk a little bit about the mower, the mowing situation.
Yes, we purchased a larger mower in June, I believe. It is not working out the way we planned, and before it gets too old and they're not using it because of the difficulty of use, I spoke with Kurt of what our options are, and H&K has agreed to trade us. And I believe you have a quote for an appraisal in your paperwork, and you should also have the quote for trading from H&K. So we're going to get 2 mowers, just basically like the ones we have now, that they use every single day. These are Toro, not the others. Right, both of the ones we're trading in are the Toro, the one, or we're buying or want to trade for. The Cub Cadet, it's a large mower, it's way bigger. I believe it has 6 tires. We bought it for hillsides by lakes and things like that, and it's just difficult to use any other time, and no more than we use it for that. We are hoping to get 2 other ones so we don't have to purchase new ones for next year. Oh.
So the bottom line here is we're trading in a piece of equipment we can't use on basically what amounts to an even swap for 2 that we can.
Yes.
Not going to cost us any more money.
Correct.
And we can access these 2 new mowers right away.
Correct.
So
Motion to approve. We don't have
we got
to,
a resolution to read on this one.
we've already done bid.
I'm with you, Taylor. I do that all the time.
Yeah, sorry.
I have a question, and we're not gonna end up having to buy something to do the hills and the,
No. They use all their other SCAGs right now for that.
Okay.
And when we went to buy new at the end of the fiscal year to replace a couple, he showed us this one. We looked at it. We had our parks people come in and look at it. They thought it would be very useful. Come to find out, not as useful as they thought, and it's difficult to use anywhere else because of the way you have to drive it and
Right.
the size. It's a foot pedal, and if you haven't gotten out there and mowed for days on end, a foot pedal is very difficult.
yeah.
Going around all the trees and objects that they have to go around. It's doing this all day, and it's very tight. It's very hard for them to use anywhere else, and so it's not what we expected it to be.
Understand. I've made those purchases before.
And lucky they were willing to trade us.
Yeah.
All right. Ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, a resolution declaring certain county property to be surplus and providing for the disposition thereof. Whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court is the owner of certain personal property that is no longer of use to the county, whereas pursuant to KRS 67.0802, the Fiscal Court finds that it is in the best interest of the county to deem the property as surplus and provide for the disposition thereof. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Fiscal Court, County of Henderson, Kentucky, as follows. Number 1, pursuant to KRS 67.0802, the following item is hereby declared to be surplus: a 2024 Cub Cadet Pro Z 972 riding mower. Number 2, the value of said 2024 Cub Cadet Pro Z 972 riding mower has been determined to be $20,900 by an independent appraisal per KRS 68.0802. 1, a copy of which is attached hereto and incorporated herein. 3, the disposition of this property shall be as follows. It shall be traded to H&K Outdoor Power Equipment towards the purchase of 2 new 2024 Toro 4000 series riding mowers valued at $13,999 each. And 4, the county judge executive or his designee is hereby authorized to sign any and all documents necessary to effectuate the terms hereof.
Motion on that.
So moved.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We also have a couple deposit releases on Nick's recommendation, both for Bell Construction Company and Castle Construction Company, and they've made deposits against potential road repairs that were needed, and Nick has let us know that in both those cases, the repairs have been completed. Anything you'd like to add to that, Casey?
The only thing for the LE bill, apparently he brought it back to court and he misused the terms, and it needed to state that it was a damage deposit for audit purposes and not a surety bond.
Yeah.
What's that? I don't.
So it looks like the company's done what they were supposed to do. Maybe we can put these in the form of a motion for both releases.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion to release both the L.E. Bell Construction Company damage deposit and the Castle Construction Company damage deposit. That's correct. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Casey.
One more swap. We're swapping equipment this week. We have a swap of an old Ford Explorer the Sheriff's Department used as a undercover car, and going to get a new one, or a new to us
Correct.
undercover car. So if you want to elaborate a little bit, Chip.
Getting rid of a 2007 Explorer and getting a 2013 F-150. And I think you recently got an independent appraisal from Kevin Herron on the differences.
And remind me, I'm sorry, but is this an even swap or?
Yes, no, it's an even swap. Historically, they're donated to us, but for whatever reason, this one they wanted to trade. So we found something that we were willing to part with, that they were willing to accept.
And is reliability one of the reasons?
Yes, yes.
Resolution.
Any questions before we read resolution to that regard?
And based upon the appraisals, the valuations are equal or in the county's favor, is that correct?
Most certainly, yes.
Should we read the whole resolution since it's going to be used for certain? Okay.
I don't think it's all that descriptive, other than the fact that it's an
Yeah.
F-150, so let's go
All right.
ahead and read it.
A resolution declaring certain county property to be surplus and providing for the disposition thereof. Do we need to read this?
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas the Henderson County is the owner of certain personal property used by the Henderson County Sheriff's Office that is no longer of use to the Sheriff's Office. Whereas pursuant to KRS 67.0802, the fiscal court finds that it is in the best interest of the county to deem the property as surplus and provide for the disposition thereof.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
It ended quicker than I
I
thought it
hope,
was.
I hope this truck is productive.
Keep on
Any other
trucking.
discussion?
Yep, keep on trucking.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good luck. We also have the sheriff's monthly report in your packet. This is the regular monthly report, unless Sheriff Stoffer has anything to add.
Nope.
Entertain a motion to approve that.
So move.
We have a motion and a second. I assume that property tax season is going smoothly so far in your
Yes,
office?
very smooth so far. Yeah, I mean, October's always busy and no hiccups, which is always good.
That is good.
The discount period, has
It
that
has ended, technically it ended November 1st, which was a Friday, but we accepted
on the
that
next
day.
Yeah.
So I guess, what's if they're 4th, when they came in the 4th, the discount period was over.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gold, your report.
Judge, I've got several checks today. Interest in the amount of $123.42. County budget reimbursement from the state, $3,756.54. Flow through from the city, $458.33. 3 interest checks, $267.73, $87.99, and $100.48. 3 checks for jail fees collected, $213.74, $251.66, and $296.25. For total remitted to the county today, $5,556.14, and making the fiscal year total $95,290.98.
Move to accept.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Gold. And Treasurer Ryder?
I don't have any transfers today, but I do have claims. From the general fund to KCCA, $2,000. This is for clerk conference fees and is to come from the clerk's training conferences appropriation line. From the road fund to LEB, $25,000, which was the damage deposit refund that you just approved. Also to Castle Construction, $30,000, which was the damage deposit refund that was also just approved. From the jail fund to Advanced Document Solutions, $967.47. This is for copier expenses and is to come from the data processing equipment appropriation line. To U.S. Bank, which is the credit card for the detention center, $7,716.04. The majority of this is coming from training conferences appropriation line and other equipment appropriation line. That's all.
Move to pay the claim.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
I have no old business. Does anybody from the audience have anything for good of the county? With that, I'll go around the horn. Astrid Starks, anything for good of the county?
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, everybody. And was just going to say a big shout out to our clerk's office. Again, all those that worked the election, things went very smooth, and appreciate Steve and all the people that serve on our county board of elections that oversee this. They had some extra duties, I think, with it being a presidential year. They have some things that have to be done, especially with write-ins and things like that. So but it went very, very smoothly, and so proud of how professional everything goes here in our community. And so just a big shout out on that. Again, had the opportunity to be at the Veterans Day program yesterday at South Middle School, so a big shout to them, putting on another fantastic program to recognize those who have served in our nation's military and kept us and continue to keep us safe in this country. And again, it looked like it was a great Halloween for most part. So with all that, it's a season of thankfulness. And I actually had the chance to call turkey bingo for the first time at the county library, just across the street. Friends of the library put that on. It was a wonderful event, a lot of fun. I would encourage folks to come out for that. I'm sure we'll do it again next year, but gave away some turkey certificates that were donated by Sherway, and a lot of good food. So hopefully, more families can have a great Thanksgiving meal. And now that we're in between these two marquee holidays of Halloween and Christmas, don't overlook Thanksgiving, because it's, I think, probably one of the best holidays we observe every year, is to recognize all the things that we can be thankful for, including all the staff that we have here at the Henderson County Courthouse with the Sheriff's Office and the jail and all the other agencies. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you. Master Berry.
It's always easy going after Magistrate Starks because he covers everything. I think we're up to April Fools, wasn't we? Did you get that? No, I'm teasing. I don't have much, Judge. Glad to see my good friend Mayor Sellers here. Thanks for being here, and all the county officials. One thing I would ask, I don't know if you know, Nick's not here, update on Green River Road project, the slide in up there.
I think slowly but surely working through the process.
Okay, I hadn't been up there to look.
If I'm not mistaken, he might have informed us that they're not going to require a land swap, I don't believe.
I think that's right.
But hopefully, once all the green lights are in, it won't take all that long to fix. So fingers crossed. It's state property, and the state government does not move quickly in most aspects.
And Judge, I talked to Nick about it, and he said that they got the right of entry the last week of October, so they just have begun, so
Good deal.
it is moving on.
Good deal.
Yep, they're, I mean, it's in progress right now.
Yes, sir.
Right here.
Right now,
Okay,
yes, sir.
okay. Well, thanks, Judge. That's about it. All's good in District 1.
Mr. Gold.
Thank you, Judge. Things are good in the county attorney's office. Want to remind everybody, or tell them if they haven't heard, the Henderson Boys and Girls Club is putting on a first of its kind in Henderson event called Chef's Giving coming up this Saturday, November 16 at 5:30 p.m. There's going to be 30 chefs that have all come up with 100 different samples. So you'll be able to go from each place, take a little sample, and it's free to get in. You just need to go to the Facebook page. There's a little button you click, tell them that you're coming, because there is limited room there.
What's for dinner, Steve?
Well, I am one of the chefs, and I'm going back and forth between a couple of things. But it is a fundraiser, and so there will be a top chef named at the end of that, and that chef will be done by voting for with dollars donated. So people will go around, they'll take samples, they'll drop money in tip jars, and the person that gets the most in tips, either online or in person, will be considered the top chef in Henderson. I'm going to try to get that. However, anybody that's ever had my cooking
with the PBJ
knows that I'm
sandwich,
not
though,
the top
that's
chef.
going to be a challenge, I think.
There are some fantastic local chefs involved. And if you can come out, I think it'll be a good time. There's going to be all kinds of other stuff going on. There's going to be a silent auction, a few other things. It's going to be a fun night. Shouldn't last too long, so you still have the remainder of your Saturday night after that. So I encourage everybody to go on the Boys and Girls Club Facebook page and make a reservation to come by. It's a great free way, with the exception of the tips that you put in, to help Boys and Girls Club and the couple hundred kids a day that they are helping out there. So other than that, things are great in the county attorney's office, Judge.
Thank you, Steve. Master Puppet.
Thank you, Judge. Just want to mention it's that time of the year where the Salvation Army starts their bell ringing. We're having a kickoff this Friday evening, I think at 5, to kind of get the season off and running. And anybody interested has some extra time that wants to ring a bell, you can actually do it online. You can go to registertoring.com. And you can actually see the schedule and put in whatever time you want and how many hours you want to do it. And we need the help desperately. So if you got some free time, we'd appreciate some help. Steve, you're not having bologna and cheese there. I mean,
No.
Okay.
No, that's...
It's all going to be prepared.
Although he
Yes.
makes a great bologna and cheese.
I do not. I'm not a bologna fan. However, there will be 100 samples of something, and it'll be delicious.
One more thing. We're having that kickoff actually down here on the corner of 1st and Main at the courthouse Friday evening at 5, in case I didn't say it. And I might try to make that. I was just making sure I wasn't going to be stuck with bologna and cheese.
It'll be fun. No. There's several local restaurants that are among the chefs as well too. There'll be a lot of great.
And all is good in the 4th, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Master Tompkins.
Well, the local problem child.
Are you?
Well, I don't know, depending on who you talk to, I guess, these days. Just wanted to say thanks to the judge and some of the other magistrates. Well, I know we've had a lot of individual conversations about the ongoing saga, what is clean energy in Henderson County. For it, against it, love it, hate it, wherever you stand, know that we are working together to try to do what is best and what is safe. And so we continue to look at that and do everything we can to, again, do what's best for everybody in Henderson County. So with that being said, I just want to make sure everybody heard that's out in District 2 and other places that have called me, so there you go.
All right, Master Southern.
Go back to the election. It is really nice to be able to turn the TV on and see Kentucky knows how to count. You know, it don't take us months. It don't take us weeks.
Days,
It's hours, and we're done. And anybody that knows Renisa Abner knows that it's right. I mean, it's so nice to be able to hold our head up high and Kentucky lead something for a change. It's a blessing to have what we have. Other than that, all's good in District 3.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And as you well know, I made my thoughts about slow vote counting on social media. And here we are a week. It's been a week since the election, and there are 2 or 3 congressional districts in California with the House hanging in the balance that have 71% of their votes counted or less. I don't know what happens there.
That's great.
It's too bad. But Kentucky, I think, is a gold standard for efficient and accurate counting of votes. And Henderson County
is.
Yes.
Henderson County contributes to that standard of excellence, no doubt. So thank you to them. I'm glad you mentioned registertoring.com. I would challenge fiscal court members to maybe get on there and register to ring together for a period of time and proudly wear Henderson County or your magisterial association gear so people know we care. See if we can get that done. Steve and I often ring the bell for Lions Club and enjoy doing that every year, but if you need a partner at some point to ring again, well, holler at me and we'll help out. Speaking of renewable energy projects in our community, we have decided to call a workshop on November 19th at 3 p.m. This will be a workshop of Henderson County Fiscal Court, open to the public to watch. Won't be taking any votes, obviously, out of a workshop, but we feel the need to really address some questions, especially regarding the permitting of any new solar farm sites in Henderson County. There are several questions that have arisen based on the construction of the first 2 solar farms that have been permitted here that were not addressed in our initial solar farm ordinance. And that demand, I think, and many of you think, I'm sure too, that we have the ability to observe some of these issues and how they transpire over the next 2 years with the existing solar farms to see if we should amend or change our ordinance to account for them. And in the meantime, potentially putting a moratorium on any new permitting while we see what living with large solar farms actually looks like, especially when it comes to county infrastructure, including county roads and county drainage. So we're going to be talking about that on November 19th. We'll also be discussing things like BESS systems, battery energy storage systems, and potential wind turbine facilities here. But I think the solar farm issue is probably the most front and center for various reasons. And so November 19th, 3 p.m. here in the fiscal courtroom, again, open to the public. Definitely a conversation worth having. So anybody can attend. With that, I want to say thanks to our Parks Department and the city, as well as City Parks, and all the volunteers who helped with Dia de los Muertos last weekend, or heck, it's been a couple weekends now. It went terrifically. It was good after a year of having to postpone it due to weather to have a beautiful day. A lot of people came out and enjoyed, saw several familiar faces, including Mr. Gold, who thoroughly enjoyed my costume that day, I could tell. And it was great, both for families and for our Hispanic community. A lot of great activities going on in the fall in our community, and I think that's one of the places that makes Henderson County special. As Magistrate Stark said, we celebrate together as much as possible all the things that make us blessed, including yesterday's Veterans Day program at South Middle School. That truly is a great thing, especially because the middle school students attend and seem to really understand its importance. And I told more than one person yesterday that just when you think young people might be disaffected about military service and its importance, especially if we haven't had anything bad happen in this country in a period of time, you think it's unfortunate that they don't feel the same way we do. And those kids prove me wrong when they attend and they applaud and they give veterans the respect they deserve. None of the students in that room, nor any of the students at the high school, were alive when 9/11 happened. And for our generation, 9/11 was our Pearl Harbor, and it really reminded us again how fragile our democracy is, and it reminded us how many people are willing to step up, put on a uniform, take up arms and protect us. And their willingness at that time has proven to be effective because in the last 20 years there have been no more attacks on the United States soil of that scale. And we get, I think when that happens, a little bit complacent, maybe a little bit spoiled. And I don't wish another one, but I hope our complacency doesn't equate into a lack of respect for military veterans, and I don't see it. When I go to South Middle School, I think the respect is there, and that's awesome. So with that,
I was just going to say, their attentiveness put me to shame, because when I was their age, I doubt if I was that focused, and they were so reverent and so appreciative to have those veterans there with them. It was great to see.
Yep, I agree. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor can leave.